Okay, so I've set this up and I've plugged in my colorimeter, and so now I'm getting a screen recording. The first thing I need to do is calibrate my colorimeter. So in this investigation we're going to be using colorimetry to measure the rate of reaction. So I'm going to rinse out the cuvette with distilled water a couple of times to make sure there's no residue in there, and then I'm going to fill it up. Okay. I'm going to flick it, have a look inside, see if there are any bubbles or anything like that, and just to make sure that I don't spill any. Notice I haven't filled it to the top. I don't need to fill it to the top. And then I'm just going to open up my colorimeter and I'm going to place it in, making sure that the clear side and not the ribbed side go across. Now I'm going to make sure that I calibrate this, and so I press calibrate, and then we should see that we have 100% transmittance. Now transmittance is a good thing to know, how much of the light is passing through the colorimeter, but I would prefer to have it in absorbance because that is proportional to concentration. So we can see that we have 0 absorbance now, okay, and that's what we want. What I'm going to do now is I can pour that away, alright, and now I've got a bit of residue. What I want to do now is that I'm not too worried about diluting it. I'm just going to put in my crystal violet, making sure that I wipe the outside of it, and I'm going to put it in there. The reason I'm doing that now is because I'm going to check the absorbance at the 4 wavelengths that we have possible. And so I can see a wavelength here of 635 nanometers that I've got an absorbance of 0.174. I'm going to check now at 430 nanometers, and we can see that the absorbance has dropped down to 0.038. If I go to 470, I've got 0 absorbance, which we can see is probably because it's in that blue region. And if I go to 565, I've got an absorbance of about 1.69. okay, and so I want the maximum absorbance so that when I get to lower concentrations I still have numbers that are quite large, and therefore reducing my percentage error. Okay, I'm going to discard this now because I'm not going to need it, and I'm going to rinse it out again with distilled water ready, so that hopefully I'm ready to go when I need it again. I'm going to leave that just there. So in our investigation we're going to be looking at the rate of disappearance of the crystal violet, and so we can do that using our colorimeter and the concentration of the crystal violet. I'm going to start off by just pouring a little bit in there just to rinse out my measuring cylinder, and then I'm going to top it up. And so I'm going to run this trial at 6 milliliters to 4 milliliters. And so I'm actually quite lucky that that's worked out. If you need to top it up or down, there are glass pipettes to do so. So that's my 6 milliliters of my crystal violet. Again, I'm going to quickly just rinse out my measuring cylinder to make sure that there's no other residue in there. And then I'm going to fill this up to 4 milliliters. And that's at 4 milliliters. So I'm kind of happy. I went down, did that at eye level. Now, I can't pour both of these in the cuvette simultaneously. It just wouldn't work that way. So I'm going to have a reaction mixture right here. And what I'm going to do is add my sodium hydroxide first, and then I'm going to add my crystal violet. But before I do that, I need to make sure that I've got enough time. So by double clicking, by pressing this button up here, I'm going to be able to change the time that I'm going to collect it. And I'm going to collect it for 10 minutes, so I'm going to say 6,000 seconds, because I can always stop it before, but it's hard to stop it afterwards. And I don't need 3 samples a second. I'm going to probably do it at 1 sample a second, and so that'll be it done. Okay, So when I'm ready to go, I'm just going to press play and record it and get a sample every second. So this is going to be the fun part. What I've got to do is start my reaction going, transfer it into or wash out my cuvette with the reaction mixture, then top it up, get it in the colorimeter and press go. So here we go. The reaction mixture started. And pour a small amount in here. Top it up. Make sure it has no bubbles and wipe the outside before I put it in. And then press play. So now we're starting to get absorbances. I'm just going to auto scale this. You can see it is declining, which is nice to see because that's what we'd expect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my graph to point symbols rather than connect the points. Just help me see the trend that we've got going. And I'm just going to let that run for the time. What you should be able to see is this is the reaction happening. We can't see it within there, but we should be able to see that our vessel is starting to lighten, and the colour that we observe is actually starting to decrease. And we see as well the absorbance is going down, which is our detector measuring that.